Hi folks, we are Sophie and Philippe, two professional chefs and regenerative farmers. Currently we're setting up our second regenerative farm in central Portugal, where we grow food for our local community and share our knowledge both on the land and in the kitchen. On this channel we take you along on the farm's development and we show you how we grow, cook and preserve nutrient-dense, regeneratively grown, delicious food. In a time where the food we're eating is literally killing us, the most powerful and impactful action one could take is to consume nutrient-dense, regeneratively grown, clean food. Let's grow it, let's cook it, let's do it. Hi folks, welcome back to another episode. In today's episode we'll be showing yet another wonderful regenerative project, and we'll be showcasing these wonderful people on the ground who are getting their hands dirty, breaking a sweat, making some delicious food for their communities. Also, what we'll be doing is we'll be showing you the updates on our farm, all the improvements, and mostly what's happening in the garden with all our crops. And of course, it wouldn't be the Farming Chefs episode if we didn't cook something delicious. So let's dive right in and let's visit Horta de Laugarás. We spent the night in Viana do Castelo, which is a beautiful harbor city with a castle at the top of a mountain overlooking the old city. This Airbnb was not our favorite due to being blocked in by construction sites, but regardless, we were excited to see the next farm, and in a good mood we left to meet the owners of another beautiful regenerative project. We were welcomed with open arms by Tiago and his girlfriend/colleague Rosa. The farm was very impressive, with two beautiful large polytunnels, 80-ish garden beds, a little laying herd and a young agroforestry setup. Tiago and Rosa were real champs and pushed themselves through the initial awkwardness that comes naturally when someone clips on a mic for the first time.
Does it hurt?
No.
A little bit.
It's just gonna be a small peak, and then just that. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Tiago, 39 years old. I'm from here, Viana do Castelo. We are just outside the city. This is called Horta de Laugarás, and we established ourselves 3 years more or less ago. And yeah, we've been doing vegetables, chickens. Maybe you want to say something?
Yes, hi, my name is Rosa and I'm from Germany and I'm 28 years old. Yes, and I've been moving in only a few months ago, and I've been volunteering on several farms, and here I am in Vila Fria.
We primarily sell to the final consumer through a CSA. We have 25 members this year. We sell to a few restaurants, and we're starting to talk with a few shops as well to put some produce in the shop.
A CSA, for those who are unfamiliar with the term, stands for Community Supported Agriculture. In this setup, customers commit to a weekly box for a longer period of time, and the farmer can be sure that the produce he is growing will be purchased. I asked him about some of the pros and cons of selling directly to consumer.
Main advantage, I believe, it's price-wise. We get a fair price. If you have to sell it to a retail, you're not gonna get your fair price, I believe, because they always try to make it down. I like very much that I can meet the people that I'm selling the vegetables to, and they can meet me as well. They know who I am, they know the farm. And then the CSA, for me, is also a planning tool. I know what I have to produce during the year, so I can control how much I have to produce. I can control my expenses. I know how much I'm gonna earn, which is also very important. And it's a compromise. So yeah, I like that people stick to it, and they, in the end, they get more of what they paid. Because if we have a full garden, then we share it with people. And in the end, I think it's a win-win situation.
Yes, and just adding to what Tiago just said, that we sell to the final consumer. I think what is also nice about that is that people get more connected to their food, when they know how it's grown, they know the whole thing, and they don't just taste the good food, but they are connected to how it is grown. And like this, we spread or we advertise this regenerative agriculture, this good organic growing.
Tiago impressively started his farm 3 years ago after having traveled and worked all across Northern Europe on different farms. This is, by the way, also where he met Rosa.
So you arrived when he was going.
Yeah. But we had like an overlap of just 2-3 days, and then Tiago left saying like, oh, it's such a pity now that I leave, and then he came back after a week.
For another month.
You knew it already.
The hard ones were the hard ones, guys.
The name Laugarás is the name of the place in Iceland where he discovered that this was what he wanted to do with his life, farming. And so he came back to Portugal after spending many years in the north of Europe working on different farms to set out to create a sustainable food-producing paradise.
I think it's been some years, maybe 2 years, where I know for sure most of the time I want to spend outside doing something physical with my hands, get dirty, get involved with the soil. And so this is what I really found here working. And I like the diversity of having beds, of having chickens, having some forest, and doing different jobs is also better for the body. I think nutrition and growing food really comes together. And Tiago and me, we're talking about it a lot, also personally, what is good for us. And it just feels right to grow healthy crops that we know that are good for the people's health. It's a delight to go out in the garden to pick some vegetables, some herbs, and to fry and to create a good meal for yourself. It's really fun. I think we should eat less processed and more fresh food, and so this is what we're bringing to the customers.
A key to success on a small-scale farm is time management. That is why we always love hearing about which tools people use.
So this is almost all of our tools that we need, that we use. We only use hand tools, nothing else. We have this grader, it's just to mark the beds before we're planting. We have a rake that has the same width as our beds, so 75 centimeters. Then we have a broad fork that we also did ourselves. This is just to loosen the soil and to aerate it. We also did the leek planter. So first we mark the bed, and then we know where to punch the holes for the leeks. And then we just drop the leeks in the hole. And then for weeding and cultivation, we use mainly these two guys. The wire hoe, I think it's called, and the collinear hoe. Yeah, and this is pretty much the tools we need. And our hands.
Besides the market garden beds, the farm also has a small laying herd. The coop was especially neat looking, and so we had to check it out. The box itself is well insulated, and the rolling nest boxes were super efficient. They told us they now and then struggle with predator birds, so they reduced the size of the net, which prevents the birds of prey from flying in. The chickens also have a constant access to grit for calcium uptake and to aid a smooth digestion. What an amazing setup! We then got to talking about their agroforestry setup. The system is still very young, but there is a plan for the future.
Rosa, I see that you have a lot of young trees on this farm. Could you tell me a little bit about them?
This is going to be an area where I stand right now that's going to be future market gardening. Right now I'm standing in the line of the fruit trees right here. So this line we already made, and it follows along 60 meters towards behind the camera.
They have planted trees in an area where the garden beds will extend into, and they will serve multiple purposes on their farm. Agroforestry means the integration of tree systems in your fine vegetable growing system. There are multiple reasons why this is beneficial to your setup. The obvious ones are that trees provide shade, they drop annual organic matter in the form of leaves, which feeds the life in the soil and adds fertility. And of course, there also will be a crop to harvest. But less obvious is the effect of fungal hyphae. Fungal hyphae play a crucial role in soil aggregation, binding soil particles together into stable aggregates. These aggregates provide pore spaces for air and water movement, as well as habitat for soil microbes. The presence of trees can enhance fungal activity, leading to improved soil structure and aggregation. Grasslands are always richer in bacteria than they are in fungi, and almost all horticulture crops actually thrive in soil where the mix is about 50-50. 50 bacteria, 50 fungi. And that is why introducing tree systems can be very beneficial.
Which tree are you looking forward to most being mature and harvesting? Do you have a favorite fruit?
Yes, this year my favorite fruit was introduced in this farm, and it's kaki. And I love it. We have 4 trees and I'm very much looking forward to try the kaki.
If you want to start something like this, I think you should do a season or 2 first to try different farms to see what suits you. Be prepared for very hard and long working hours. It doesn't matter if it's raining or not, you have to do it. And yeah, just follow your passion, and I'm sure you're gonna do it.
We are super impressed by their hard work, their clean and professional setup and great spirit. They are managing to consistently produce enough food for 25 families and are planning to provide for even more. We can't wait to keep coming back to this farm to see how the tree lines will develop over time and of course hang out with these 2 lovely people. Rosa, Tiago, our hat goes off to you. If you're curious to learn more about Horta de Laugarás, please go check out their socials. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Now, enough about Horta de Laugarás. Let's go to our farm. I'm going to show you what's going on in our garden, give you a little bit of a plant update, a little bit of an animal update, and of course it wouldn't be the Farming Chefs episode if we didn't get into that kitchen and cook something together. So, let's go. Now, if this doesn't make you happy, I don't know what does. I'm gonna pop these to the side because we'll cook with these in a minute. But before that, I'm gonna give you guys a farm update. It's well deserved because lots have been going on and it's time to show you what's what. The garden is truly thriving and our tomato experiment paid off, as our tomato plants are about 70 centimeters big now and will soon be starting to produce fruit. From now on, I think it's safe to say that we will continue to mob seed a lot of our tomatoes, peppers and aubergines directly into the soil in our nursery instead of potting them up. So on my left here, we've got our carrot bed. Of course, you've seen it in a few of the last episodes where I'm harvesting. They're doing really well. We just start harvesting the ones that are biggest, and that gives space to the smaller ones because we don't really thin out our carrots. So this bed will be productive for quite a long time to come, but we'll also be harvesting in specific areas soon because we're going to transplant our pepper plants into here. Then on our right side here, we've got our cucumber plants. Philippe planted those about a week and a half ago, I would say. And they are also looking very strong, pointing to the sky, looking happy and healthy. Outside, it's also looking pretty amazing. I don't want to float our own boat here, but I'm honestly just very happy with how the garden looks. Look how big and nice they're already looking, ready to be harvested. Gonna let you here already sun dry. The peas have taken over the net and are starting to produce their purple pods. This variety, called blauwschokkers, is a true favorite amongst growers as they are so easy to spot and harvest. Again, here everything is looking very beautiful. The zucchinis are growing very fast. There's even flower formation starting already. They seem healthy, undiseased, and the little salads in between are also doing great. And then here on the right side we have this beautiful broccoli growing. It's looking super healthy, very vibrant and dark green. The little salads in between also are looking very happy. And if you read our comments, you'll find there that on our episode where we showed you the new mycorrhizal that we bought, I got a really kind comment from another grower saying, sorry guys, mycorrhizal doesn't work in a symbiosis with the brassica family in general. So that was news to us because we usually use it only for our tree systems, and we've only recently started using it in our horticulture. So yeah, it's really interesting to learn about that, and that is true. There are certain plant types that actually don't grow in symbiosis with mycorrhizal fungi. I'll leave an interesting article in a link below because there's really interesting stuff to read about it. I won't get into the nitty-gritty here because that's maybe a little bit too much in-depth info. But for those geeks of you out there that are interested, pop in the link below. Yeah, so I'm happy that they're still thriving because we didn't know, and neither did the other grower, if there was some sort of detrimental effect. All we did here was waste a bit of money unnecessarily. The broad beans stayed upright in their bamboo structure and gave a very good yield. They are starting to come to the end of their productive cycle now, so soon this crop will be taken out. The outside carrot bed is doing well, and the green onions are going strong and are being harvested continuously. The chard bed, which we have been harvesting for 4 months now, is going into flower and will be discontinued soon. Another bed of young chard though is already ready to harvest again. The garden, all in all, really is doing amazing. A bit of a semi-fail though is our wild border. We had a flash frost one night and our pumpkins got frost burned. They're probably not going to recover nicely, so we will fill it up with even more flowers next week. The little test garden is also doing great. The white beetroots are starting to form. The brassicas here, the cauliflowers in the midst of our little carrot mixture bed, are also looking very happy. The okra had a hard time in that freeze night. Some of them passed, have moved on, but we will just replant because we have an excess up there in the tunnel. Here behind me, the spring onions are almost ready for harvest and to go into the box. Then we have our little red beets also starting to shape. Behind that, beautiful white cabbages. Again, important now to do some caterpillar control. And then behind me, this little wall of sugar snaps is starting to make flowers. So soon we will have an explosion of sugar snaps. All right, so now time to do something very exciting. When I passed here the other day, I saw a little mini toad, and I really want to show you guys. So all the tadpoles have, I think, converted into actual toads. And they're minuscule and very cute, and I'm going to try to find a few to show you, but I also need to do that very carefully because obviously I don't want to step on any. After some careful searching, I found one. It was very nice to see the whole cycle from tadpole to actual toad this year, and for our kids to witness as well. After our toad find, it was time to check all the other animals. All 3 lambs are doing well, drinking and frolicking about. The chickens are getting big and soon will also be ready for slaughter. And last but not least, we went to check on our worm farm. Yeah, they seem happy here, huh? Now, let's make something delicious with these strawberries. Okay, it's time to start making this very quick and simple dessert. We're gonna eat this as a little snack. The kids, I hope, will love it. I think so. We're gonna make something that in Dutch is called hang op. So what you need for that is some full-fat yogurt. I actually used a vanilla flavored ones that my kids just really love. And yesterday I popped that in a cheesecloth, I let that drain, and today that has gotten rid of most of its waste, so the liquid has separated, and in the cloth now is this thick cloth of very creamy, more firm yogurt. Lovely. I've got my strawberries over here. We've got a bit of ginger. I'm gonna go and get some fresh herbs towards the end of this, and let's get cooking without any cooking. Voila! The little jellies have set. Exciting! Philippe's mom gave me this very fancy piping bag where you can just take off the nozzle and change it halfway through, which is really quite incredible. So let's use that for today. I'm gonna pop it in here and then we're gonna put in the hang up. This is a great way of filling up one of these piping bags if you don't have anybody else to hold it open. Now we're gonna put these macerated strawberries on top, without spilling on the sides. because I'm a sucker for mint tops. Brighten up any dish with mint in it, and then ready to serve. For those of you that would like the full recipe, you can find it on our website. I will leave a link below. See you next week, the Farming Chefs. Peace out.